Good morning. Myself, Dr. Jana. I am Associate Professor of Department of Chemical Engineering, Haldia Institute of Technology. Today, I will discuss on industrial pollution control. So, as we know, say, from the ancient time of that civilization, the man came after a long back, and at the initial stage, due to some say the reaction, mostly the initial stage where there is the photosynthesis. That reaction that requires say oxygen is being produced, that requires actually carbon dioxide and water. Okay. So plant has the capacity to produce glucose by means of that photosynthesis. But how that carbon dioxide has come, it is a question. There is so many of debates how that the carbon dioxide or water has come in the earth. That is the main debate. Mostly that the phytoplanktons, that is that water animal, water plants which are being generated or produced in the early stage. So that they are respiration, they produce also carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide again you can utilize for their photosynthesis to make the glucose. So for the very beginning time, there in the earth there is some generation of carbon dioxide, or rather we can say there is also say pollution. Okay, if that concentration of carbon dioxide is more than the required amount, then definitely that will cause the health hazard, or that may cause some disasters even. So that is called actually the pollution. So as per our requirement, we have set up so many of industries to make our clothing, or to make our shelters, or even for the transportation. We have made different vehicles, and we have also set up different industries. So other industries may be based on say agriculture or say IT sector to ease our life. And definitely all the industries have some byproducts or some the pollution, we can say that, and we have to combat that the pollution, whatever that is coming. We'll discuss one by one. So my presentation overview will be so how many types of say industries is there, and what are the pollution, and what will be the management for the waste, will be the wastewater management, and also the solid waste management, and how we can utilize that waste uniformly or technically so that we can get benefit of it. So that industry, what is that? The definition: industry is a group of the productive organization that produce or supply goods, services, and definitely it will be source of income. Okay. So in the earlier days, actually in 1835, mostly that the first industry that came our industry for the civilization, that is the textile industries, and we have shown the picture about the textile industries. Mostly that the machines are being operated by manually, but nowadays, as we know, so with the application of electricity, we can do it automatically. Some robotics has come in the so many of car manufacturing company. They are using the robotics so that the automatically if we put that raw material, we can get the finished product. And for the nation's economy, it is also dependent on industrial growth. As you know, mostly the industries, they are chemical. Okay. Some reaction is taking place. You have to develop some new material, some reaction or some mixing, proper ratio is maintaining is required, and in that way we can have that good and efficient product. The quality of the product is being further improved day by day through the research. So for the nation development, we need definitely industries, and the industry may be based on agriculture or even the forest, fishing, mining and quarrying, also extraction of different minerals. Okay. Depending on the type of the industries, there are mainly two types of industries, mainly generic industry, that is the production of raw material, mainly the resource whatever we have, as I mentioned earlier, that raw material if it is used and we are making the final product, and then that is called genetic industry. But another industry is say extractive industry, that is the raw material we cannot get it from the resource, I mean from the nature as it is. We can modify that the resource and we can then use it. So in that way, that is called actually extractive industry. Okay. So that raw material we cannot produce or we cannot get directly from the nature. We have to make that material for the production, and then we can get the final product. So ultimately, we should know what is actually pollution. Pollution is introduction of contaminants into the natural environment that causes adverse change. Right? So the pollution actually will say that if the concentration of any specific component, if it is more than that specified, then that component it is posing the pollution. But if it is within the limit, that is not the pollution. And the pollution may be in different types. Maybe say noise, we know, say heat or even light. We have seen earlier, say nowadays the laser show is there. So if the intensity of the laser is too high, and if there is so many of laser being used, then that may pose some light hazards. I have visited Hong Kong fortunately, and that Hong Kong, it is actually that city, it's famous for its laser light show. Okay? And it has the Guinness World Book of Record. So, but they are using the laser for the amusement purpose, for entertaining people, and that they are maintaining the intensity of the light as per the specification. Okay. So whatever the light we are using, if it is not causing any harm, then it is not a pollution. But if it is increasing the aesthetic view, then we can use it. Then pollutants, the component of pollution can be either foreign substance or even energies or naturally occurring contaminants. Okay. So many of say heat energy we use for say thermal power plant or say even atomic power plant. There is we are disposing water of very high temperatures. So hot water, if it is being disposed to the aquatic, the life will be under danger, and in that case, the temperature or say heat energy of that water, wastewater, it is causing the pollution. There are the different types of the pollution, mainly air pollution, light pollution, littering, noise, plastic pollution, soil contamination, radioactive contamination, thermal pollution, visual pollution as I mentioned, and water pollution as well as solid pollution. In the neighboring picture we can see that from the thermal power plant so many of smoke and carbon dioxide is coming out, and also from different automobile industries, different metallic scrap are being generated. Also from different vehicles, carbon dioxide or NOx and nitrogen dioxide, different type of nitrogen dioxide are being generated. And also here I am showing that sound pollution, if it is noise level more than the 80 decibel as per the specification of Factory Act, then it will be causing some health effects. Okay. And also some different chemical industry, they are disposing of that wastewater to the canal without any treatment or without maintaining their standard. So in that way, so many of types of that pollution we have seen, and we can realize, and in our daily life we have some effects. If the pollution is more in the environment, if the concentration of carbon dioxide is more, or even dust particle is more, so we will have some breathing problems and we have some health issues. We will discuss also. So air pollution, so there is so many of oxides, mainly ammonia, carbon dioxide, or carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide even. Also there may be some particulate material, mostly carbon dust particle or even sulfur. they are the main pollutant, air pollutant. They may cause disease, allergies, even death to the human. So if we use for a long time, prolonged use for the long time, or in industries, the people are using or they are being supposed to work under that environment where there is a toxic environment. Means if there is some ammonia or toluene or different solvents are there, mostly in the chemical industry, most of the solvents are hazards in nature. Okay? So the people are, or the worker, they have supposed to work in that environment, and inherently they will inhale that toxic vapor into their body. So by that continuous inhalation for a long time, mostly people are working for say 8 hours, but if you work say for 12 hours, even say 16 hours like that way, so they will absorb so much of the toxic vapor in their body, so they may have some problem, health issue may come up in due time, and in that way even after some time death case may be right. So the pollution control board, they have prescribed what type of the pollutants will be allowed in their work enclosure that are being specified. Say for example, for toluene, maximum 50 ppm is allowed. Okay? So if in the work environment that the concentration of toxic vapor is more than 50 ppm toluene, then definitely we have to go for say proper ventilation. There are different types of ventilation. I am not going to discuss all this type here. So ventilation may be used so that the fresh air may be included into that environment, and the whatever the vapor that the limit may be reduced down. So may cause the harm to the living other organisms, also animals, and even for food crops, the plantation or vegetation, they are being affected with that pollution. Mostly the leaves, they have some deposited that sulfur or dust particle, and they may hamper that photosynthesis process. So that demands natural environment. They may be say climate change. Nowadays we are talking about that climate change. Okay, so global warming due to say the carbon dioxide concentration, that scattering of that sunlight, it is not coming back again to the atmosphere. So it is coming back to the earth again. So in that way, global warming is going on, and so say the glaciers and then the North Pole or South Pole, they are the deposition or storage of the ice is depleting, and in that case the water level in the sea is increasing. So that may change abruptly. I mean, we cannot realize within 1 or 2 days or say even 2 years like that way. But if we have some decades or say 20 years, 50 years, after that we can realize what are the effect of that global warming. Okay. There may be some ozone depletion or habitat degradation, and also well environment means if the pollution is air is more, then sometimes there may be some acid rain. Okay. So sulfur dioxide or carbon dioxide, once it is being absorbed by water, so they will form say carbonic acid or say sulfurous acid like that way. So that acid rain will cause the damage to the vegetation or even some building material, even our health environment, and indirectly they will move under the earth, under the soil, and again if we take the groundwater, they may be contaminated, and we can consume that water, then definitely we have some disease. Here, whatever we are talking about the pollution, it may not be due to some human activity only, but it may be also from the natural source. That, for example, the eruption of volcanoes, they are producing huge amount of smokes, that is the magma, and the carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, so many things. So the natural phenomena or say natural the process, we cannot control it. So whatever we can control, that is our industrial the pollution control. The effects of air pollution on human health, vegetation and minerals, materials, it is like that. Say, whatever that the different types of air pollution it is coming. So there may be carbon monoxide, there may be say particulate matter, means carbon dust or say sulfur dust as I mentioned, or even some ozone will be there, so that they may damage our nervous system. Mostly lead, arsenic, this type of metals damage our nervous system. Different kind of organic compounds is there. If we inhale, that may cause for say cancer, or that nausea means with a vomiting tendency, or even they may cause for the skin irritation. Okay. Mostly all this in order to be that may cause also headache or fatigue and different types of respiratory illness. And if bacteria or parasites and different chemicals are there, they affect our gastrointestinal system, and that is digestion system. And we know this from the vegetable whatever we are using. Most of the cases we use different type of pesticides or say herbicides, and that may affect directly for our say digestion system, and different type of disease we have with that. Not only that the air pollution affect our human body, it may also cause for vegetation. Here I have shown that structure of a leaf, and the upper part of the leaf is cuticle, and there are two layers, upper epidermis and lower epidermis, and in the lower epidermis there is the stoma, the pores through which that the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is going inside, and reacted with the water molecule to get the glucose. And if the deposited that particle choke that stomata, definitely the photosynthesis process will be affected, and in that way there may be so many of disease on that the leaf surface. That is chloroplast. The chloroplast it will be yellow in color. Okay, that is called chlorosis, and this type of disease may be found in our vegetation. Even the materials means our building. We have seen say earlier time that Taj Mahal, the color of Taj Mahal was bright white, but nowadays it is being seen to be as a off-white. So that acid rain, due to the acid rain actually there is some corrosion, and the fading has taken place. Now we are talking about that pollution. Say at what level of that carbon dioxide or whatever the pollutants is present, then we can call it a severe or like that way. So the Pollution Control Board, they have specified, and they have categorized the range the different ways. Say for example, good, satisfactory, moderate, poor, very poor, and then severe. So what is that? I will have to explain. Say here this PM means particulate material, and here subscript 10 means that's a particular size, it is 10 micrometer. And say for example here it is 2.5, so particular size is 2.5 micrometer like that. And say for 24 hours the scanning for any specific location, this type of actually that measuring or analyzing equipment is there in the atmosphere. This is being installed already in Bangalore city. They are measuring the particulate matter in the air, whatever it is present, and that record is being sent to the Pollution Control Board directly. Okay. So in that way we can understand what is that the level, and if the level, that is say if it is 0 to 50, that is say microgram per meter cube, that particulate matter, if it is within 0 to 50, then we can say it is good. So in that way, other parameters are also there. Say for carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, what will be the level? It is being shown here. And say for satisfactory, like that way, it is 51 to 100 like that. For moderate, 101 to 250. And in the area where there is some yellow color has come, that is say, for example, particulate matter for 10 micrometer, if it is within 101 to 250, then some alarming is given to that the government or to the companies associated there. And if it is poor, definitely some action plan to be proposed to the pollution control board, and if it is very poor or severe in that constant, immediately the pollution control board have the right to close down, to shut down that plant. And it is being specified in our Factory Act even also under section 41A. So they are specifying, they are mentioning that the owner means the company owner, or it is also called as per the Factory Act, occupier have also some responsibility to look after the health of their employees. So as per the specification, they have to arrange for some refreshment, some drinking water qualities to be maintained. Also, there is the provision for the ventilation system, so that air quality will be maintained in that way. So that it is not like that the company, I mean the pollution control board, checking that all these things, but as per the factory rule, as per the rule also, it is being proposed in 1948. From 1st April 1948, it is implemented in India. It was proposed in 1947 actually, and that is called enacted in 1947, but it was implemented in 1948. So from then, time to time, whatever the guidelines we are getting to maintain the pollution of the air, every industry have to do that to take care of this factor. Now, how to control that pollution, air pollution? I mean, as I mentioned, so there is some by natural means there may be also pollution, and we don't have control over the nature. But whatever in our hand we can do that. So whatever the pollution we are coming up, we are emitting to the environment, we can measure it, and if we know the cause and how to tackle, how to control, then if we take the measures, then definitely the situation will be under control. So there are different methods actually, so that the gaseous pollutant can be amendment, means their gaseous pollutant content will be reduced. So first one is lapse rate and stability. What is that one? In the graphical I am showing that lapse rate means with increasing of height from the ground level, how the temperature is changing. Okay? And definitely with the change of temperature, the pollution level will also change. We can explain later on. Okay. So then the lapse rate, here we can see that with the temperature in the daytime, if height is there, that means from the ground level, if we go on increasing the height, then definitely the temperature will reduce. It is like that in the daytime the sun is there, so the earth's surface is becoming hot. If we absorb the heat, then the near to the surface area, air will be also hot on, and if you go the upper position, then definitely the temperature will reduce down. But in the night case, the scenario will be different. As you know, in the night time, the earth's surface even become cooler rapidly than the atmosphere, than the air. So in the night time, the earth's surface will more cold and the air will be hotter one. So in that case, if there is some emission, that will be more problem. Say in the Bhopal gas disasters that has happened on 4th December 1984, as you know, so everybody knows that methyl isocyanate gas, and that milk gas was leaked. Actually, that carbonyl chloride, phosgene, that gas is required to prepare that milk. Okay. So that phosgene, the gas leakage was happened in the night time. So in case of if the leakage was not in the night time, if it is in the daytime, the severity will be less. That can be explained here. Say in the night time, so Earth's surface becoming cooler. So once there is the release of the gas from the flare or from the release tank, so the gas will be attracted to the ground surface. So in the night time, gas leakage is very dangerous compared to if the leakage is in the daytime. So this is if this criteria we know, and if the plant is having some beyond capacity, say that sometime anyhow some leakage to be done. So if there is the situation that the leakage can be done in the daytime, so in the night time we should store it and we should preserve it, and if possible we can release in the daytime. By this concept, by this idea, we can do that, and we can control definitely the release of the chemicals. There is the plume behavior. The continuous cloud, whatever after the leakage of the chemical, that continuous cloud is called actually plume. So this is the storage tank, and there is some height. Generally, storage tank are being kept at 10 meter of height. So if the height is more, definitely that the plume, it will be touched to the ground at a higher distance. Okay, from the left hand side there is the flow of the wind, and the wind will carry away the cloud. Okay, and after some time the cloud may touch to the ground. So the people or inhabitant to that specific area, they will affected by that film. So with the plume behavior, and for any specific area, what will be the air direction, I mean wind direction, if we know that, and wind speed we know that, then we can control the release of the gas so that it will not touch the ground. So it will, the habitant will be unaffected in that area. Next one is a dispersal of air pollutants. Most of the cases is that the continuous cloud, it will have some less mixing capacity with air. Okay? But in that, if the cloud, if we release the toxic vapor for a certain interval, that is the pop-up valves, by using the pop-up valves. The valve release is not continuous one. So with a fraction of second, it is releasing and closing in that way. So the volume of the cloud, it will be generated. That will have a smaller size, and it will be mixed with air properly, so that it will carry it over in the sky, and they will never touch the ground. So in that way, if we know the techniques, we can control all this situation. Next one is the atmospheric dispersion and the equation of its solution. So there is the G0 equals to G into rho 0 minus rho A by rho A. That is the rho is the ambient air density. Rho 0 is the density of the flammable vapor, or the toxic vapor, whatever is coming at this initial stage, at the time of release actually. Okay. So this is the gravitational acceleration, and this is the buoyancy factor. So that G0 is important one, depending on the gas density. If G0 is more, then it is more dangerous. So within that G0, with the concept of G0, that the value should be less in such a way that we should go for the proper mixing, and if there is some release of the toxic vapor, it is unwanted, but sometimes it may be done actually. So in that case, we have to arrangement for say some blow of air into the film, so that the concentration of the toxic vapor will be reduced down, and it will not affect to the inhabitant. Next one is source correction method. What is that one? The substitute of raw materials. Whatever the raw material we are using for producing of any chemical, if it is possible, we can replace the raw material which is having less hazard. Okay. So mostly that methyl isocyanate method was adapted there in the Bhopal gas. Nowadays that methyl isocyanate, that is the intermediate step, so that there is no need of the frozen. Okay. In that way, if we replace the raw material with the less hazard one, then definitely we have more control. On the pollution. Next one is a process modification. Yes, if it is required in time, they are due to the modern technology. If we adapt the technology, definitely automatically all the system will be controlled, so that whatever the process parameters, say temperature, pressures, or say even catalyst concentration, flow rate, everything may be managed, and we can have the improved process condition, process operation, so that there will be less chance of leakage. Modification of the existing equipments. Yes, equipments also may be required to modify as per that latest technology available. Maintenance of equipments, proper maintenance is necessary. That Bhopal, the gas disaster, whatever happened, that is due to the lacking of the maintenance. Okay, plant was shut down for a long time, and the storage area, the pump and all these things are not maintained properly. So there was some leakage afterwards. Next one is a Gaussian plume models. This is a numerical model. Once there is the leakage from here, from the stack, so we can see that the plume will move past, and we can analyze that the plume content at different area, different height, and that is called using the stack. So by stack analysis, we can understand what or how the pollutant are being dispersing in that area, and with that idea we can have some preventive action accordingly, so that the inhabitant after all will be less affected. Now coming to the particulate matter. Earlier we have discussed the gaseous material, how to control. Next one is a particulate matter. It is the dust particle, maybe say carbon or say sulfur, most of the cases, or say light metal oxides, even silica, silicon dioxide at a high temperature. It may also, if it is fine in shape, then it will be floating on the air also. So how to maintain, how to control the particulate matter? Here it is discussing. There is the first is called say gravity chamber. By particulate matter, say in air there is a particulate matter will flow through the gravity chamber, and there we have that the screening effect, so that due to the gravity, if the particulate matter having higher density, definitely will be deposited at the bottom of the chamber, and the air with less particle, or say very small particle, fine particle, they may come out. So this is the gravity chamber, first one. Then next one is a cyclone separator. By using cyclone action, the heavier particle they will be separated from the circumference, and they will be deposited at the bottom, and the lower particulate material they will be coming up from the upper. So by the cyclone separator, by cyclone action, we can separate all the particulate matter. And there is also filter. Mostly used in different industries. The filter bed is there, some mesh, maybe most of the cases metallic, and so polymeric mesh are being used, so that particular material, whatever it is coming in the air, it will be screen off, the particulate matter will screen off, and we can get the fresh air. Next one is the condensation. This is mainly for not the particulate one, the gaseous one, gaseous pollutant. If we condense it, it will be liquefied. We can collect the liquid, and it released to the atmosphere will not be possible. So in that case, we can arrest the gaseous component. Then there is the electrostatic specifications. The particulate matter, there are the two plates we generally put, and they are of different charges. So the particulate matter, whenever it is attaching to the surface, accordingly they will be charged, and it will be absorbed on that the surface, and after some time we should clean that surface, and we can separate the precipitation. Next one is a thermal oxidation. Whatever the oxides are being generated, if we go for the higher oxidation state, definitely that will be less damage to the people. Most of this is carbon monoxide being produced due to incomplete combustion of carbon. So if we further oxidize that carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide, then carbon dioxide is less hazard. So nowadays in that automobile industries and the bikes or in the scooter, we can have in the injection area, so there is some oxides or catalyst we put into, so that the NOx or SOx or even carbon monoxide, whatever is generated, it will be converted to the higher oxidation, and it will produce a less hazard material. So that is being done actually by thermal oxidation, as is possible. Next one is the biological process. Biological process here, mainly trees, they have capacity to purify our air, and the trees, they have also some the absorbing capacity of the particulate matter, and that on the tree leaves, on the surface of the leaves, we have seen that the dust are being deposited. It is not like that they are deposited by itself. Then that surface is being attracted, but the surface is attracting the particular material, and they are being deposited in that way. Okay, so they are separating, and nowadays, so the pollution control board also suggesting that at least 2/3 part of any industrial area, they should have some plantation. Okay, so that whatever the pollutants they are generating, some of them to be separated by or being absorbed by the plants itself. Okay. So that is called biological processes. By that way, we can separate the pollutants from the air. Next one is absorption, or say absorption. Absorption is the adherence of the particulate matter on the solid surface. So in that way also the surface, more surface created is being done, and it is actually done for say absorption as well as absorption. Means with the liquid, the solid are being absorbed or say dissolved. In that way, we can separate the gas, separate the solid particle from the air. Next one is water pollution. Mostly we have seen this type of picture in our the way of our daily life. So the contaminants of the water bodies actually is coming, and most of the industries, they are disposing that water to the environment in the or the canal nearby without treating them. So whatever the waste material, there may have some acidic value, acid may be there, also even alkaline one. Even the temperature is not suitable for the aquatic life. The temperature may be high. So that water, it is actually very harmful to the aquatic animals, and most of the cases we have seen that the dead animals, so different type of fishes and other things, it is coming out and floating on the water. So that can be prevented, and we should take proper measures so that this may not happen. Water pollution reduces the ability of the body of water to provide the ecosystem service. In that way, if the what is aquatic animals there, if they are dying or they are not fit for that environment, then definitely that ecosystem will be hampered. Water bodies include the lakes, rivers, oceans, aquifers, reservoirs, or say groundwater. So many types of water bodies are there. Everywhere this type of pollution nowadays we can find. The releasing of inadequately treated wastewater into natural water can lead to the degradation of this aquatic ecosystem. As I discussed, most of the industries, what they are doing, in the night time they are disposing of that untreated water. As per the pollution control board, nowadays also in India, at the exit point they have introduced some meter, flow meter, and also the analyzer. So automatically whatever the quality of the water the plant people are disposing of, they can get the record. Okay. So nowadays the pollution control board also implying the regulatory laws and regulatories stringently, so that the company people, they are also nowadays trying to be verifying or quantifying the qualities of the water. All plants and organisms living in or being exposed to polluted water bodies can be impacted. Means the living being or even say plants, they are being also affected if they take this type of polluted water from the ground. Now, just one parameter I would like to discuss about the quality of water. There are so many factors actually to get the good quality of the water. Major point is say oxygen demand, DO, dissolved oxygen. Okay. So for the aquatic animal, how much of oxygen it is being dissolved, that is important. If the oxygen level is come, definitely the plants or even the animals they will die. Okay. So the minimum DO, dissolved oxygen, it is required say 5 milligram per liter, that is 5 ppm. For any aquatic animal, at least 5 ppm of oxygen is required. So we have to maintain that much of oxygen, and that oxygen level may be affected by these four parameters. The first one is a reaeration, Then next one is photosynthesis, respiration, and oxidation of waste. So re-aeration means stirring of water. So during the stirring, what will happen? Say oxygen from the atmosphere, it will mix into the water. So the oxygen level of water will increase. That means DO will increase. By aeration, DO will increase. Same way, by photosynthesis, as you know, by photosynthesis oxygen is being generated. So by the aquatic plant, whatever it is, they go for the photosynthesis, they are producing oxygen, and in that way they are also increasing the DO into the water. So these two, that is aeration or say photosynthesis, they have the positive impact on the DO. But the respiration, the plants and animals, whatever it is within the water, by the respiration they are producing oxygen. They are producing carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide again will cause harm to their health. So that is the negative effect. Same way, the oxidation of waste, whatever the waste material present in the wastewater, any biological bodies, plant bodies, or even say fish or animal bodies, and by oxidation, that oxygen is required, so that DO level will decrease. So there are two opposing action is taking place, and in that way, from time to time, if the level of respiration or say oxidation of the waste is more, definitely the DO level will be less. Or rather, if the other two factors, say re-aeration or photosynthesis rate is more, then definitely the oxygen level will increase. So, but here again, actually the natural trend of the DO that is being mentioned, say for 20 hours of operation, say at the midnight, the DO level in the water, it is at this position, and at the morning DO is decreasing. DO is being decreasing here, it is like that. Say during that night time, there is no photosynthesis, there is no oxygen generation. Rather, so by respiration or say by oxidation of the waste, some oxygen is being consumed. So the DO, that is dissolved oxygen level, has decreased down. But after 6 am, sun rises and the light is going inside the water, and in that case, by photosynthesis, oxygen will be generated, so the DO level will increase in that way, and ultimately in the night time again it will decrease down. So that behavior is called diurnal behavior of DO. Diurnal behavior of DO. So with this pattern, we can understand, say, how the oxygen level in water is changing throughout the day. Next, how to make proper treatment for the wastewater, so that if we dispose of that water into the environment, that will not cause harm to the human bodies, even say other animals. So there are the three methods by which we can go for the water treatment, wastewater treatment. First one is the primary. So this one is the screening, sedimentation, filtration, and also filtration. By screening method, we can go for, say, if the solid particles are suspended or floating on that water, then we can screen out. There is a screen, the mesh is actually implemented, and we can separate the floating material. So the water, when it is coming out, we can go for the treatment or further treatment, so that after that it will be used properly. There is the two types. A drive is there, actually the skinning, it will take off easily, and if the particle size is more, then there is a blade, the cutting arrangement may be there, so that particle will be smaller size, and after that, if we have a skin, so we can separate it out easily. Then some chemical treatment is actually done, and then say if the water is, for just example, the acidic one, we have to add alkali, so that the acidity will be neutralized, or the pH will be within the limit, maybe nearer 7. pH should be ideally near 7, or maybe 6.5 to 7, like that way. So different chemicals are being used, acid or alkali, most of the cases are being used, and after that the alum we put it into the, so that the suspended solid, whatever it is, with the presence of alum, they will be sedimented at the bottom part of the container, so that is called sedimentation. And there is also some clarifiers. The clarifier is rotating so that the scrapers acting as like that. Whatever the sludge that is coming out, being deposited at the bottom, and it will be taken out easily with the time. So secondary is some biological treatment. Some bacteria. Most of the cases in wastewater we use some bacteria. So that bacteria they decompose the organic component. Okay. Most of the petrochemical industries, oil industries, the oil leakage is there, and they are coming directly to the water, and that separation of that water and oil, it is very difficult. So if the oil level is very less, so it cannot be detected or cannot be separated efficiently. Rather, we should go for the biological treatment. Some bacteria, they have efficiency to consume that organic matter. They are using that organic matter as their nutrient. So we have to culture for the bacteria for the wastewater treatment plant. There is some ponds. In the ponds, the bacteria being cultured, and if required, sometimes we have to add some extra nutrient, some bagasse or kajal wood. All this type of chemical are generally used to growth for the bacteria. So by bacteria, they will degrade that organic component into a smaller fragment, so that the component will be not so much of danger. Tertiary one, in case all these methods are altogether being used, most of the cases in fertilizer, paper, pulp, or inorganic, even petrochemical industry, this type of tertiary process means all the system means screening, sedimentation, clarification, acid treatment, or say bacterial growth, everything are being generally it is standard method for different industries. So that called altogether is called a tertiary method. Now coming to solid waste management, that soil, it is also being polluted, as we know, say by leakage of that water. The water, if it is poor quality, and there is some leakage of acid, alkali into the soil, the soil lose its fertility, and there will be difficulty growth of the plants. So definitely after some time we cannot get some food, and so the contamination of soil, it should be removed, it should be avoided. And soil contamination is a part of land degradation, is caused by the presence of exobiotic component. Exobiotic means human made. Human means whatever the metals are being producing, that may lead to the exobiotic component. Okay, or the food item we are throwing here and there, the waste material. Even I have seen so many of educated people, they are not using the waste properly. Okay, after taking up tea, they use the cup and they throw the cup here and there. So that is not a good one. That if we use that waste properly, if we manage the waste properly, then definitely we can reduce that soil or solid pollution. Okay. So it is a typical caused by the industrial activity, agricultural, chemicals, and improper disposal of waste. Okay, in the European country, or even I have visited so many of countries, and I have seen that in South Korea, they have properly managed the waste, so that they are generating also revenue from the waste. Okay, so in that way, the ill effect, the harm caused by the solid waste is very less, and also they are using fruitfully for different purposes. Nowadays in India also, the solid waste, mostly the polymeric or plastic solid, they are being used in the making of footpath or even roads, like that way. And again, I have seen there are here and there so many of waste gathered unscientifically, and they are causing the environmental hazards. So the most of the common chemical involved in the petrochemical, hydrocarbons, polynuclear amide, these are the chemicals they are causing the solid or soil pollution. So solid waste management, there is some also, though this radioactive contamination is very dangerous, but we cannot find everywhere, very localized area where that atomic power plant is there, or where that the radioactive the nuclear plants are there. In that case, the radioactive contamination into the soil may be found. So that radioactive radiation is, as you know, very harmful for our body, as they are producing say alpha, beta and gamma rays. The degree of hazard is determined by the concentration of contaminants and the energy radiation being emitted, the type of radiation and the proximity of contamination to the organs of the body. So radioactive, as you know, we cannot see it in our open eye, but it is a long-term effect, so you should be avoided. If you use some radioactive power plant, the waste whatever being generated, that should be handled properly. That waste management should be like that way. The radioactive waste whatever being generated, that will be kept, it is stored or maybe underground. Will be stored for a long time, then we can dispose of it. So there are the different types of solid waste, maybe say explosive gases, flammable liquids. There are 9 types of the solid waste being generated. So proper management is required. There is color codes used generally for different materials. For paper, yellow color; glass, it is pink, and organic one, there's a green one. With plastic is light, pink. It is there actually. This is brown one, like that. Okay. So different type of color code is being used actually, so that we should keep that dustbin or waste basin like that way, so that the waste material we should collect there accordingly. And that sometimes landfilling is also being done scientifically, so by layer deposition, and on that there is some we should control, we should put some even treatment chemicals or even water, so that after treatment of this that waste, we can use it as a manure, and we can use for other purposes. Most of the cases with the solid which is very hazardous, we go for the incineration. In that case, for the solid waste, it is being burned in presence of say LPG. And if it is having, the solid is having say, high calorific value, then that energy it is being captured, and it may be utilized for producing say steam, and that's from the steam we can generate power using the generator, and whatever the toxic vapor it is coming out, it may be scrubbed and we can be separated out. So proper management, waste management is important, and so that we can get even some revenue from the waste, and we can have the less hazard to the environment. So finally, coming to the conclusion, the industrial pollution is a very much concern to our entire world nowadays. Everybody is talking about, they are going on say seminar conferences and about the global warming and how to protect our environment from such hazards or say pollution. Industrial pollution may be caused by harmful chemicals, gaseous waste, such as I mentioned, say sulfur, lead, carbon monoxide, and like that. The waste can be dissolved into water and air and make our environment poisonous, harmful, and gaseous. Like that, you need continuous observation to maintain the limit of this waste to make them less effective on our environment. So if we have say proper management of the waste, whatever may be the gaseous or say liquid or say even solid waste generated, if you manage that properly, then there is no worry about it. And we have also searched in other alternative energy source. As you know, say due to the civilization, we require more energy for our use of life. Nowadays, electricity is being used most of the cases, and most of the cases we use a thermal power plant for generation of electricity. But again, the thermal power plant, they produce the carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or other oxides, other pollutants. So we have to go for other way, that nowadays the solar power being used, the solar panel, solar cell, or different types of solar modules are being produced. It is available also in the market, and we have seen, say, in that Koi Mil Gaya, that movie, that Jadoo, it is absorbing sunlight, and it is living actually with the help of the sunlight, no other food, nothing. So with the energy from the sun, if we use that properly, if we make the car solar cell, using the solar cell, and if we are not dependent on the natural sources available, say petroleum or coal, whatever it is, for our energy source, then in future we'll have a good environment, we'll have a good situation, so that our future generation will be best fit, and we'll have a suitable workplace environment, and we have a better life. With this, I would like to thank you.